Your best mentors are more likely to have assistant in their title than chief. I posted that the other day, and it resonated with a lot of people. But I got one comment asking, wait, can you explain what that means? Yes, that's what I'm doing in today's video. So the reason I put that is that last week I was talking to a women's group, and I got a question asking, have you had mentors in your life and how have they impacted you? I have. And I started talking about my former boss, who was most recently the chief legal officer of KFC, Melanie Boots. And I was talking about things she did to impact me. And I stopped and I said, but hold on a second, because I think it's actually a really high bar. Because I in my life have worked alongside and had the chief title, but a lot of people don't. And so it can feel really intimidating to think that you always have to look up, meaning up the corporate or organizational ladder, to find those mentors or the people that can give you advice. And so I flipped it, and I want to say some of the best advice and care I ever received was not from someone that had a C-level title, but it was an assistant. And I gave the example of Gloria Hudson. So as I said, when I worked at KFC, one of my mentors was the chief legal officer. But also one of my mentors was the executive assistant to the chief legal officer, Gloria. Why I say that is because the most practical advice I often receive from Gloria. But one thing that she did for me and for others impacted my life. And in large part is why I create a lot of videos that I do today and talk about very real examples of care. So when I worked at KFC, I was a lawyer for KFC. And I had 2 kids, and one of them was a baby. I talk about when I interviewed, I was like recently from maternity leave, I was basically triple spanked. But so when I started, my child, grew into like a baby and a young toddler. And for those that have gone through that phase of life, they're frequently sick. Our baby was in daycare. And so it was like literally about every week coming home with a fever, some sort of illness that would keep me working from home. And back in those days, we were in the office every day. And so I went weeks at a time worrying about Mondays and worrying when my son had a fever, both worrying about his health and also thinking, I don't want to get fired. Now, in that environment, I actually advanced my career at KFC and I had a really supportive team. But the most support I got was from Gloria, because what she would do for me and for others is if I had to be home and was working from home and doing the shuffle of trying to take care of a baby and do work as well, she would say when like my son was feeling all better, send me a picture. So I'd send a picture. When I came back to the office, she would have that picture of my smiling baby up on my wall with a sign that said, he's feeling all better. And so everyone was like, oh, I'm so glad you're feeling better. Now, you don't have to be a parent to experience that. You can have your own things as well. But having someone that goes out of their way to check on you, and to the extent you feel comfortable, I felt very comfortable with it, but having that up and everyone checking in, and she really led the charge by having that. And that was a level of care that literally would bring me to tears. But at those points where so often people go to work and you're afraid to talk about your personal things. You don't want to talk about appointments or challenges that you have, and you worry about how things will impact work. That was a level of care in leadership. Gloria didn't ask permission from someone, can I, from anyone else at work, meaning other than me, to go and show this support. She thought of it on her own. And she didn't just do this for me. She did this for everyone, and things would happen. And she would go out of her way to give updates and show this level of care and check in and make sure that you felt supported. And so I say that because I learned lessons from her. That it's more than just saying, I hope everything's well, let me know if I can do anything. But she would take actions that she could, and there's so many examples of her doing that. And so when I spoke to this women's group, I said it was really important for me to clarify that my mentors have not just been the top of the corporate ladder. And it's a really easy trap to fall into talking about those. But that makes people think that you have to look up. But that practical knowledge often is with people with assistant or coordinator, and some of that real practical, real talk knowledge or things that people have ideas about. And so that's why I put that out there, is that a lot of the most practical, real talk tips that you will get will come from those that have truly done the work and have seen it all and may even have years of experience. And so it's important that people at that level be recognized for it and appropriately receive what they put out towards others. But that's why I have the lesson that as you're looking for people for guidance, Like if you're, sometimes I'll get new law firm associates that are starting, and I say one of the best things you can do is learn from those that maybe assistants, maybe paralegals, have worked for a long time, but often those people who don't feel like others are listening to their voice. Listen to what they have to say, because that's guidance that really matters, and they often deserve more respect or just as much as anybody on that corporate ladder or organizational ladder. And so as you think about people to get guidance for, don't just look up. Look around and consider others, and even asking people, like, what's something you think I should know that I don't? And that's where some of the best advice that you can get is. So I'm perpetually grateful to Gloria and a number of individuals that have really shown me what leadership is, who may not consider themselves leaders as far as the organizational chart. So I hope that you think about those mentors that you have in your life. And you can always drop a note and thank people that have given you that advice along the way.